What if the spark you thought was gone was simply waiting for better circulation? I'm Dr. Justin Keller, and today we're talking about a specific seafood. Yes, just one. That's been shown to reverse poor circulation and naturally boost intimacy, especially for people over 60. This isn't about magic pills or empty promises. This is about giving your body the nutrients it needs to restore energy, rebuild confidence, and reconnect with your partner and yourself. In this video, you're going to learn why poor circulation affects more than just your hands and feet, how it quietly impacts intimacy. Even if you're not talking about it, the one seafood that supports blood flow, hormone health, and energy. Without drugs, and how to start eating it without breaking the bank. Stay with me until the end. Because the first benefit you'll hear about is the most surprising, and for many of my patients, the most emotional. If you're watching this, you're not alone. This stage of life is about strength, not silence. So let's open the conversation. Before we begin, drop your city in the comments. Let me know where you're tuning in from. I read every one. And if this kind of honest, real-life guidance helps you, like this video and subscribe to Glowing Age. It helps me keep sharing lessons that matter. Now let's get into it. The quiet epidemic. Poor circulation and intimacy decline after 60. What if I told you that cold hands, numb feet, and a fading sense of desire could all stem from the same root cause? And it's far more common than most people realize. I'm Dr. Justin Keller, and I've spent the last 15 years working with patients over 60 who come to me with quiet concerns they've carried for years. They say things like, "I just don't feel like myself anymore," or "I thought losing intimacy was just part of aging." But what many don't know is that these changes are often linked to something very real and very reversible: poor circulation. As we age, our blood vessels naturally become less elastic. The inner lining of our arteries, called the endothelium, doesn't produce as much nitric oxide, a molecule that helps blood vessels relax and expand. When this process slows down, our circulation becomes sluggish. The body can't deliver oxygen and nutrients as efficiently, especially to the extremities and, critically, to the areas involved in sexual arousal and emotional connection. It doesn't just show up in obvious ways. Sure, you might feel colder or notice swelling in your legs, but poor circulation also steals energy, slows mental clarity, and yes, dampens intimacy. That spark you used to feel. It's not just emotional, it's biological, and biology can be supported. In men, sluggish circulation often leads to difficulty maintaining performance. In women, it can cause dryness, discomfort, and reduced sensitivity. This isn't about vanity or trying to turn back the clock. It's about restoring healthy blood flow so that you can continue experiencing connection, affection, and vitality in the ways you deserve. The problem is most people aren't connecting these symptoms. They're treating the fatigue, the mood changes, the blood pressure, all as separate issues. But from a medical standpoint, it's often one system signaling distress: your vascular system. And that decline in circulation doesn't just impact your physical health. It affects how you feel about yourself, how you relate to your partner, and how willing you are to engage in closeness. I've had patients tear up in my office because they thought their days of intimacy were behind them, not due to lack of interest, but because their body simply wasn't responding the way it used to. That's not a moral failing. That's physiology, and we can do something about it. Research from the National Institute on Aging shows that maintaining proper blood flow is one of the most reliable predictors of longevity, cognitive resilience, and even emotional well-being after 60. Circulation isn't just about your heart or your limbs. It's about staying alive in every sense of the word. The good news? You don't need expensive prescriptions or risky procedures to support your circulation. In many cases, it starts with small changes to what you eat and how you move. One of the most powerful tools you can use is natural, and it's something I'll talk more about shortly. A particular seafood that's been shown in multiple studies to enhance blood flow and sexual vitality safely and effectively. So if you felt the quiet fading of energy or closeness, don't ignore it. It's not just getting older. It's your body asking for better support, and you deserve to give it what it needs. Why blood flow matters more than ever now. Good circulation isn't just about keeping your hands and feet warm. It's the foundation for nearly every function in your body. And after 60, when your systems naturally begin to slow, blood flow becomes even more critical, not just for survival, but for quality of life. When blood moves freely, it delivers oxygen, hormones, and nutrients to every cell in your body. That means sharper thinking, steadier balance, faster healing, and yes, healthier intimacy. You see, sexual arousal in both men and women is a vascular event. Without strong, steady blood flow, desire might be present, but the body doesn't always respond. I've worked with patients who assumed they were losing interest in connection altogether. They blamed stress, grief, aging, but their labs told a different story. Many had signs of vascular decline, elevated blood pressure, lower nitric oxide levels, early signs of endothelial dysfunction. Once we improved circulation, often through diet, movement, and targeted supplementation, they were stunned. That missing part of their life, the energy, the closeness, the sense of being fully alive, it started to return. And it's not just about intimacy. Good blood flow helps your brain stay alert and your mood stay balanced. The brain is incredibly sensitive to oxygen supply. Even slight reductions can cause mental fog, forgetfulness, or low mood. Improved circulation supports neurotransmitter activity. Those are the chemicals in your brain that regulate focus, memory, and emotional resilience. Let's not forget the heart. A lifetime of wear and tear on the cardiovascular system doesn't mean it's too late to repair. In fact, your body wants to heal. It's constantly trying to find balance to regenerate, but it can only do that if your circulation is working properly. Think of your blood like a delivery system. If that system slows or the highways are clogged, your organs can't function at full strength. But when the system flows, when those vessels are open, the blood is clean, and your cells are getting what they need, everything begins to shift. You sleep better, your joints ache less, your energy becomes more steady. And perhaps most importantly, you begin to feel like you again. In women, stronger circulation means improved sensation, better lubrication, and a greater ability to connect physically without discomfort. In men, it means more consistent performance, more confidence, and deeper connection. But even beyond that, it means freedom. Freedom to move, to feel, to love without hesitation. One of the studies I often reference with my patients was published in the American Journal of Cardiology. It showed that men with healthier endothelial function, meaning the lining of their blood vessels was more responsive, also reported significantly better intimacy and overall life satisfaction. That's no coincidence. Blood flow is vitality. This is why I emphasize circulation with every patient over 60, not just as a heart issue, but as a whole life issue. Because the difference between just existing and thriving, between feeling tired and feeling alive, often starts with the simple, profound act of helping your blood flow better. And as you'll see in a moment, one natural food from the sea may be the easiest place to begin. The underrated hero. Oysters, among the most overlooked but powerful foods for restoring circulation and intimacy, especially after 60, is the humble oyster. You might know oysters for their reputation as an aphrodisiac, but the real story is deeper and backed by science. This isn't folk medicine or hearsay. Oysters are biologically designed to nourish the exact systems that begin to decline with age: circulation, hormone production, nerve sensitivity, and cellular repair. Let's look at the facts. Oysters are one of the most concentrated sources of zinc in the natural world. A single oyster can contain several times the daily recommended amount of this vital mineral. Why does that matter? Because zinc plays a central role in testosterone production, not just for men, but for women as well. Testosterone is essential not only for libido, but for energy, muscle strength, cognitive sharpness, and bone health. Many of my patients don't realize they're zinc deficient. Symptoms can show up subtly: thinning hair, slower wound healing, decreased sense of taste, and lowered desire. Especially after 60, when nutrient absorption in the gut becomes less efficient, even a good diet can fall short. Adding oysters even once or twice a week can correct that imbalance naturally, without medication. But oysters offer more than just zinc. They're rich in omega-3 fatty acids, which help reduce inflammation and improve blood vessel flexibility. This directly improves endothelial function. That's the part of your circulatory system responsible for delivering blood to where it's needed most. Whether it's your brain, your heart, or more intimate areas. Then there's taurine, an amino acid found abundantly in oysters. Taurine helps regulate blood pressure, improves heart rhythm, and has a calming effect on the nervous system. It's especially beneficial for people with hypertension or early-stage heart disease, conditions that often contribute to both reduced circulation and low libido. You'll also find selenium, a trace mineral crucial for thyroid function, immune support, and sperm production. A strong thyroid helps regulate metabolism and energy, which in turn supports hormonal balance. For women in particular, healthy thyroid activity can mean fewer hot flashes, more stable mood, and better sleep, factors that indirectly influence intimacy and connection. Oysters are also surprisingly lean, low in calories, and contain high-quality protein that helps repair tissue and maintain muscle strength, something many older adults struggle to preserve with age. And unlike many seafoods, oysters are low on the food chain, which means they contain far less mercury than larger fish like tuna or swordfish. That makes them a safe, sustainable option even for those with cardiovascular concerns. I've recommended oysters to hundreds of patients, and I've seen remarkable results: improved energy, better performance, enhanced mood, and most importantly, restored confidence. Because it's not just about function, it's about identity. When you feel strong in your body, you feel more connected to your sense of self, your partner, and your purpose. Now, I understand oysters aren't for everyone. Some people don't like the taste or texture, and others may have shellfish allergies. If that's the case, don't worry. Mussels, clams, and even sardines offer similar benefits: zinc, omega-3s, selenium, and more, just in slightly different proportions. The key is consistency. One meal won't change everything, but making these foods part of your weekly rhythm can support circulation and intimacy more effectively than many pills I've prescribed. And here's the beautiful part: these aren't just nutrients. They're natural tools from the sea designed to keep your blood flowing, your heart beating strong, and your relationships full of life. Oysters aren't a luxury, they're a lifeline. More than romance, how this food supports whole-body wellness when I recommend oysters, or similar nutrient-rich seafood, to my patients. I'm not just thinking about their circulation or libido. I'm thinking about their entire body. Because what nourishes your intimate health also strengthens your heart, protects your brain, eases inflammation, and supports longevity. The systems in our bodies are deeply connected, and when you nourish one, you begin to uplift them all. Let's start with the brain. Oysters are packed with omega-3 fatty acids, specifically DHA and EPA, which are essential for brain structure and function. As we age, the brain becomes more vulnerable to oxidative stress and inflammation, which are major contributors to memory loss, brain fog, and mood swings. Omega-3s help build healthy brain cell membranes, support neurotransmitter activity, and reduce inflammation that can lead to cognitive decline. I've had patients in their 70s and 80s tell me that after just a few weeks of including seafood like oysters in their diet, they feel mentally sharper, more emotionally stable, and less anxious. Now let's talk about the heart. Cardiovascular disease remains one of the top health risks after 60, and one of the most modifiable through diet. Oysters support heart health on multiple levels. Their omega-3s reduce triglyceride levels and help prevent blood clots. Their magnesium content helps regulate heartbeat and supports proper muscle function, including the heart muscle. Zinc, often overlooked, plays a vital role in maintaining the integrity of arterial walls, reducing the risk of plaque buildup that can lead to stroke or heart attack. But the benefits don't stop there. Let's move to something a little more visible: your skin. Poor circulation and nutrient deficiencies can cause your skin to look dull, thin, or tired. Oysters provide a rich source of collagen-supporting nutrients like copper and vitamin B12. Collagen is what gives skin its firmness and elasticity. When circulation improves and collagen production is supported, the skin appears more hydrated, healthier, and yes, more radiant. I often tell my patients, when your blood flows better, your glow comes back. We also have to consider joint health. Many older adults struggle with stiffness, especially in the morning or after long periods of sitting. Inflammation is often the culprit. Oysters offer natural anti-inflammatory compounds that may help ease joint discomfort. especially when included in a broader anti-inflammatory diet. And the protein in oysters supports muscle repair, which helps keep you mobile and independent, two things that become more precious with each passing year. There's also a profound impact on immune health. Zinc and selenium are immune powerhouses. As we age, our immune response tends to weaken, making us more susceptible to infections, slow healing, and autoimmune flare-ups. Just a few servings of oysters per week can restore some of those defenses and help your body bounce back more easily from illness or stress. Even metabolic health is affected. Oysters are low in calories but dense in nutrients, making them an ideal choice for those looking to manage weight or blood sugar. Their rich B vitamin content, including B12, helps regulate energy production at the cellular level. That means fewer crashes, more stamina, and better blood sugar stability throughout the day. All of these systems, brain, heart, skin, joints, metabolism, are connected by one powerful pathway: blood flow. That's why a food like oysters, which enhances circulation while delivering potent nutrients, can create such a ripple effect throughout your entire body. You may begin eating them to support intimacy, but the side effects include sharper thinking, stronger movement, more stable moods, and a deeper sense of wellness. I often tell my patients that true vitality doesn't come in a pill bottle. It comes from feeding your body the way it was meant to be fed, with real, whole foods that speak your body's language. Oysters happen to be one of nature's most eloquent messages. When you give your body this kind of nourishment, it remembers how to heal, how to energize, and how to thrive. Even, and especially, after 60. Simple ways to add it to your diet without getting bored or broke. Now, I know what many of you might be thinking. Oysters sound great, but aren't they expensive? And what if I don't even like the taste? Those are fair concerns. But here's the truth. Adding this nutrient-rich seafood to your diet doesn't have to be complicated, intimidating, or hard on your budget. Let's start with accessibility. While raw oysters at a seafood restaurant can be pricey, you don't need to eat them that way to get the benefits. Canned oysters, which you can find in most grocery stores, are just as potent in terms of nutrients. Look for options packed in olive oil or water. Avoid those with heavy sauces or sodium-rich brines. A single can typically cost just a few dollars and can be stretched into a full meal or snack. For those new to oysters or unsure about the taste, try incorporating them into familiar dishes. Chop them up and stir them into a seafood chowder. Add them to a pasta with garlic, lemon, and olive oil. Mix them into scrambled eggs with herbs for a savory breakfast packed with protein and omega-3s. When blended into a flavorful dish, the texture and taste are much milder than eating them raw, and often more enjoyable for first-timers. You can also make a simple oyster stew, a traditional comfort food that's both soothing and nutrient-dense. Sauté a bit of onion and celery in butter, add milk or cream, drop in the oysters, and season with a little pepper and thyme. It takes less than 15 minutes and delivers a warm, satisfying way to feed your heart and circulation. If oysters truly aren't for you, whether due to allergy, taste, or preference, consider alternatives like mussels, clams, or sardines. Mussels, in particular, are incredibly high in B12, iron, and omega-3s. They're often sold frozen or vacuum-packed, which keeps the cost low and preparation easy. Just steam them with a splash of white wine, garlic, and parsley for a quick meal that feels fancy but takes less than 10 minutes. Sardines, though small and humble, are another powerful option, especially if you're watching your budget. They're rich in omega-3s, calcium, and vitamin D. I often recommend them on whole grain toast with a squeeze of lemon and some cracked black pepper. For less than the cost of a cup of coffee, you're giving your body a cardiovascular boost that can improve blood flow, reduce inflammation, and support sexual health. Now, it's important to be mindful of quality and sustainability. Look for wild-caught varieties when possible and always check labels. For canned options, avoid those with unnecessary additives or industrial oils. Reputable brands will keep the ingredients simple, just seafood, oil, or water and salt. Also, a quick word of caution, don't overdo it. Oysters are incredibly nutrient-dense, but like anything, moderation matters. Eating them once or twice a week is more than enough to see benefits. If you eat too many, especially from questionable sources, You might risk excessive zinc intake or exposure to environmental contaminants. And of course, if you have a shellfish allergy, skip oysters entirely and stick to fish like salmon, sardines, or even plant-based sources like walnuts and flaxseed for omega-3s. I always encourage my patients to keep things simple. Build a rhythm. Maybe oysters on Sundays, sardines on Wednesdays. Don't aim for perfection, aim for consistency. Make it part of your routine, like brushing your teeth or taking a morning walk. Over time, those small, regular habits add up to big changes in your health. Because when you fuel your body with the right foods, foods that support circulation, nourish your heart, and restore your vitality, you don't just feel better. You show up more fully in your life. You connect more deeply. You remember that you're still vibrant, still powerful, and still deserving of wellness. What to expect when you nourish from within when patients come to me with concerns about energy loss, circulation issues, or fading intimacy. They often expect complicated answers, medications, tests, difficult changes. But what surprises them most is how quickly the body begins to respond when we support it the right way. When you nourish from within, using something as simple and natural as seafood like oysters, you're giving your body what it's been quietly asking for. One of the first changes people notice is warmth returning to their hands and feet. Poor circulation often causes those cold extremities that feel numb or stiff. But as blood flow improves, many report their fingers feel more alive, their toes less sluggish, and even walking becomes easier. That's not wishful thinking, it's a real measurable change in vascular function. Next, patients begin to experience more consistent energy throughout the day. That familiar 2 p.m. crash, where you feel like you could fall asleep at the kitchen table, it starts to fade. As your cells receive more oxygen and nutrients, your energy no longer swings like a pendulum. Instead, you feel steadier, more focused, and more capable, physically and mentally. Then comes the emotional shift. Many people over 60 chalk up their low mood or disinterest in intimacy to just getting older. But low zinc, poor blood flow, and nutrient deficiencies often masquerade as fatigue or emotional withdrawal. Once those needs are met, often just through adding key foods, people begin to feel more connected to themselves again. Desire may return, not just for intimacy, but for life. Reading, gardening, conversation, touch, it all becomes more enjoyable. For some, sleep improves. Nutrients like magnesium and taurine help calm the nervous system and support restful sleep. And better sleep means better hormone balance, stronger immune function, and even better memory. You wake up more refreshed and less reliant on caffeine or naps to get through the day. Over time, there are deeper transformations too. Patients tell me their blood pressure stabilizes, their doctors reduce medications, and their labs improve. And while those numbers are important, what matters most to them is how they feel. They're walking with confidence again. They're reconnecting with their spouse in a way they thought was gone. They're not just adding years to their life, they're adding life to their years. It's important to understand that these aren't miracle results. They're the result of real biology, supported by real food. And the body responds when it's respected and cared for. Oysters and similar seafoods don't act like caffeine or sugar, no quick high followed by a crash. Instead, they gently rebuild from the inside out, strengthening the systems that matter most as we age. The heart, the brain, the nerves, the hormones, and the deep emotional threads that keep us feeling close to others. What I love about this approach is that it's not about chasing youth. It's about embracing this chapter of life fully and fueling your body so it can meet you there. We're not trying to be who we were at 30. We're learning how to feel vibrant, alive, and connected at 60, 70, 80, and beyond. That glow isn't just possible, it's biological. And it begins with choices you can make today. So what should you expect when you nourish from within? Expect warmth, expect clarity, expect energy, and maybe most important of all, expect a return to the parts of yourself you thought had quietly slipped away. Because they're still there, just waiting for the right kind of support. So now you know, sometimes one small shift in your diet can support your heart, your energy, and even your connection with the people you love. Oysters and seafood like them aren't just food. They're fuel for circulation, intimacy, and long-lasting vitality. I've seen this work in my own practice. When my patients start nourishing their bodies properly, they start feeling more alive, physically, emotionally, and relationally. And you can too. If anything in this video spoke to you, if it gave you hope or reminded you that your story still matters, share it with someone you care about. These conversations deserve to be heard, especially in this season of life. And don't forget to like the video and subscribe to Glowing Age. It supports the channel and helps me keep bringing you real, practical ways to stay strong and vibrant at any age. Thank you for being here. Keep going. Keep glowing.